Alright guys, and welcome back to today's video from Farmer Scoobs. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like, and if you have a quick chance, you can throw me a quick comment. Today's video, big announcement. We are going to show you our new implement and I suppose give you a rundown of why we decided to go with something like that, and basically what we plan on doing with it going forward. So I've just brought you up to the other shed, and I have taken out the machine that we were going to be using this implement on. And as you can see here in the back, this machine, this is our 3-ton mini digger. It's our Yamaha mini digger. We have it now quite a while, and we've done a few other bits and pieces to it to try and get it to our own liking. You would have seen back in my previous videos, we done a final drive in it. We put on a new set of tracks. We had a couple of issues with getting that ram up there, had a leak in it, and we had to put on a couple of new pipes and bits and bobs. Like I said, going forward, we have our FEMAC hedge cutter that we bought a couple of years ago. It's a good few years ago actually now, maybe 9 or 10 years ago, from, I think it was in DH Farm Machinery. They were a relatively new company to the market, so the deal was good at the time. So we bought that, and it's great and all for doing hedge cutting, but we have decided to go with a saw blade. I'll turn it around now so that I give you a proper look at it. A saw blade from Slantrack. It is an absolute beast of a yoke. This is the HS55 model, and it's suitable for the 3-ton mini digger. Now, as you can see, it's a tad bit dirty. I have been using it already. We've been doing a few bits and pieces around the yard with it since it came, and you would have seen from where I damaged the ground just out where the sheep was. Going forward, we decided to go ahead and purchase this from Slantrack, and it came on a pallet. I just had to give them the dimensions from here to here and the dimensions crossways, and they made the hitch to suit. The only thing it didn't come with was the quick attach fittings to go onto the mini digger itself. Purchased them from a local plant suppliers when it arrived. I actually thought they came on that, but when I further to the discussion I had with Slantrack, that they don't provide them fittings, and because there's so many different types. So look, as push came to shove, we had to go and get a set of fittings for it. That wasn't the end of the world. And I suppose once we got it piped up and got it on, first job we done was down there. When I'm backing around the shed with the tractor with the front loader, when the front loader goes out over the gates, it was catching everything in between and afters, briars, branches, the whole lot. So I just trimmed off everything along there, just so that when I'm swinging out over the gates, I'm not catching everything and going with it. That was the first job we done with it. And I suppose the second job I went at, we have a hedge then down here at the back of the house. It's probably around 120, 130 yards long. And I went at that both sides just to bring it in. I normally do it with the flail every year, but I didn't get a chance to get round to doing it because the ground had gone so wet. It didn't make a whole pile of difference. I went down with the mini digger anyway, and the ground was absolutely just, it was chaotic, and even the tracks left tracks. So it is what it is. The ground has just gone past workable at the minute. Now, I suppose we are hoping for a cold snap to come. So as soon as that comes, this little gizmo here will be in full action. We have all our own silage ground to do. We go around, like I said, I go round on them every year with the flail. But I think just with this, it's a small bit more efficient. And I suppose it cuts that heavier stuff as well that I want to cut back, because that will cut up to 6 inches thick. So you're talking a good trunk of a tree, you know. It'll definitely give it a good whip. So that's why we went ahead and got this, because there is a load of stuff that needs to be cut back. And just remember back, as I don't know if I might have said it earlier on in a video when we were talking about acres and different things, on your yearly, if you happen to get a yearly satellite inspection and you're claiming ground for whatever it might be, permanent pasture or traditional hay meadow and so on and so forth, if you have your ditches encroaching into your field that you haven't kept trimmed back, the satellite inspection will only take where they can see green field at. So if your ditches are encroaching the first year maybe a foot out into the field, and the second year they've come 6 foot out into the field, look, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but it can happen. Wild growth is serious, but if they encroach out and they keep encroaching out without you keeping them cut back, you will get penalised. So just bear that in mind going forward. Anyone that thinks, we leave that bit alone, it's too wet, we won't cut it back, we'll get to it another time. Make sure you do get it to another time, because if you do have a satellite inspection, they will mark you on it. They will penalise you on it. So that's why I'm a big believer of keeping the hedges cut back to the ditch. Keep them trimmed back as much as you can. Plus, if you keep a hedge trimmed, it'll fill it out, and there'll be no spaces for gaps to come in for cattle to pass through. You know, it'll keep it full. So that's why you should always keep a hedge as trimmed up as possible. I did trim another hedge further up where the sheep was. You might have seen it actually in the last video that went up. I'll just see if I can give you a quick look at it from here without having to go up the field too far. Just around the gate here, we done this side here and just this bit over here, and then further over behind the shed where there's briars and stuff growing, we trimmed that off as well. But if you can see up there, that was all trimmed with the saw blade hedge cutter. Now the forest in the background, it doesn't really give you much of a sight there to see, but that was all trimmed back with the hedge cutter. And I done a small bit that side of the gate, but I thought to myself, I was marking the ground too much, so I left it alone with the full intention of coming back to it the next day when the ground hopefully dries up, because that hedge does normally get cut every year. So all going according to plan. In a few weeks time, maybe if the ground dries up, we'll be back at that again. But look, at the end of the day, some of you might think, why would I have bought this if we have a flail? Like I said to you, the blade is actually a better, it's more efficient for cutting hedges and trimming hedges back, because the flail is grand for anything, I suppose, up to maybe 2.5, 3 inches. You'll flitter them at 2.5 to 3 inches. You know, if there are branches or things on trees, it'll flitter them. It won't leave a cut flush. That's why I've gone with this, and I suppose it does a cleaner job. And plus, you can, I suppose, as you're cutting stuff, when the blade is not spinning, you can just use the saw head itself just to try and push stuff back in closer to the ditch and give it another mulch. The only thing with the flail, I suppose, it does mulch as it's cutting, but like I said to you, anything that's sort of heavy, it won't cut, or it'll flitter it more so than anything else. I don't know what's gone wrong with him. Roger! He's gone off on his own spiel there. Roger! Come on, boy. Roger is very active with the cats this weather. He's making sure he's keeping them in line. I'm not sure if he's a hunting dog or a cat dog. He loves rounding them up. But we're working on him. We're working on him. He's definitely coming on. Anyways, back to the saw, back to the job at hand. But as I was saying, why people might ask, why do we have 2 hedge cutters? Look, at the flail is grand. It does what it needs to do. But I just thought, when we have the mini digger, we have the he's doing my head in now. We have the machine to actually run it. So it was the next thing to look into doing was doing this job on this, and I think it's definitely going to be worth it in the long run. And I suppose, look, at the digger is left lying up for some time throughout the year. It doesn't, I suppose, during the winter time around here wouldn't be a whole pile happening with it, so it's definitely given it another lease of life instead of leaving it parked up in the shed by having this on it. And I suppose it'll free up the red tractor as well, because look, at any roadside cutting that I do on our own ground, once that is done, I can take the flail hedge cutter off and I can put the saw on this, and it frees up the Zetter tractor for doing the feeding, because I like to use the feeder on the back of that one because it's a bit more nimble than the Landini. And this can be brought out then, and you can hedge cut away in different places, and you can leave it parked there. You know, you can come back to it the next day without having to bring it back to the house. And you know, you can do your own hedge cutting at your own pace. You know, it's not that it's I do babble on about hedge cutting, but look, at hedge cutting is extremely important, like I said to you. So going forward, that's what I will be doing. I will have a video of this running. I don't know if it'll be in here on this or not, but I'll definitely have a video of this going at some point or another when we're cutting with it, because I'm just blown away with it, how good it is. There is 2 different types. There's the HS55, which is the one we have because we have the smaller machine, but there's also the HS75, which is the next size up, and it's for the bigger machine. I think that's from 6 ton to 13 ton. And there is different attachments available for this as well. Bar the blade, I think you can get a plastic flail, and there's 3 flails on the actual head itself. So there you have it, guys, in all its glory. That's the new setup, that's the new implement on the machine, ready to go. And I suppose in a week or two's time, hopefully we might be able to get a small bit of good weather to get out into the field with it and get cracking with it. And look, that's all I'm waiting on, is just waiting on the good weather. So anyway guys, we're going to leave it at that. It's just a nice short sweet video just to give you, I suppose, an insight, because I have been talking about it and I wanted to show you exactly what it was, and I am really excited about it, and I'm mad just to get going with it. All I need is a small bit of good weather to get cracking on with it. But there you have it, from Slant Track HS55 Sawhead. Look guys, we'll leave it at that for today's video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And if you have a quick chance, throw me a quick comment. Any questions you want to ask about it, feel free to leave it in the comment section below, or you can check out their website, slanttrack.ie. You can look them up yourself. They have other bits and pieces. It's not just saw heads they do mulchers, they do flail heads, they do mini dumpers and so on and so forth, and bits and pieces like that. You can check them out. I'm not promoting them or anything like that. This is not sponsored, just so that you know. We did buy this full price, so that is that. All right guys, as always, we will catch you in the next one.
You should have the beacons on. It's a necessity.